Now then, guys, how we all doing? Hope you're all good. Today I've got I've got a few questions as always, just shit to keep it going, really. I write all this stuff down when I'm at work. If I get like an idea or something I want to talk about, I just write down in my notes, and literally just see what shit that I come up with while I'm at work, really. Um, One of them was, why do I always look? Why do my muscles and everything always look bigger in somebody else's mirror? Now, I don't know if you've ever been. I don't know if you go to the gym or not, but if you've ever been to the gym and you see that good lighting and you're looking in the mirror and you think, Jesus Christ, I'm pretty happy with that. I look pretty bob on. And then the other day I was at work and I was having a drink and I was just drinking like that, and then I looked and I saw myself in the mirror. I thought, Jesus Christ, my arm actually looks a lot bigger than what it used to be. I've always had very, very, very skinny arms. So I just had a theory of, why do we look bigger in somebody else's mirror? Anyone else ever had that thought? Like, just one of them weird things that happens. Oh yeah, this one were a cool one that I wanted to talk about. So the word podcast, right? Because everybody in the nan knows what the word podcast mean these days, right? But where's it come from, and why is it being called podcast? So a podcast is a digital audio or a video program made available on the internet for downloading or streaming. Listeners can subscribe to a series using an app to automatically receive new episodes. But where it comes from, the word is portmanteau, a blend of two words combining iPod, and broadcast. So the coinage was around 2004. The term was coined in 2004 by Ben Hammersley, writing for the Guardian newspaper. The inspiration blended the word iPod, which was Apple's popular portable media player at the time, with broadcast to describe the rising trend of amateur RSS-fed audio shows being downloaded to MP3 players. The adoption was the early pioneers of the medium, like Adam Curry and Danny Gregoria. So I just thought that weird because everybody knows what a podcast is. Everyone talks about podcast and blah blah blah. And I always thought, where the hell did it come from? Who decided that this little interview thing, or whether it's like a solo one or a group one or a one-on-one, who decided it were going to be called podcast? I just thought, pretty interesting. Split my lip. Really fucking hurts. So, here's another one that I was thinking about the other day, which is just a random one. Historical words. So this is backstories. I've been listening to the Odyssey, and then I've also just had on the story of Troy as an audiobook while I've been at work, and keep hearing words, and you're like, we still use that today, that word, and you think, where did it all come from? I'm pretty interested in language and words and that. I think it's kind of cool, you know what I mean? Especially if we're using a word that was like 2,000 years old. Like, it's pretty weird. So like everyday Greek words hiding in plain sight, like the word tripod. It's Greek. Tri means three, and pod or pous means foot. So it's literally 3-footed. A camera tripod is exactly what a Greek would call it 2,500 years ago. That's pretty mad, because we use tripods for like cameras, lighting, all that jazz, but yet this word's like 2,500 years old. Telephone. Tele means far or distant. Phone means voice or sound. Literally meaning far voice. But yeah, everyone says the word telephone and never even thinks about it. Photography. Photo mean light, and graph mean writing or drawing. Literally means writing with light. I like that one. That's pretty cool. Gymnasium or gym. So gymnos in Greek means naked. So ancient Greeks trained naked. So technically, every modern gym is named after a nude training hall. Protein shakes hit different after learning that. Psychology. So psyche means soul and mind, and logos means study or discourse. So it's literally meaning study of the soul. That one's kind of cool. I like that. They're boring. Don't want to talk about them ones. Panic. That's an odd one. So Pan comes from the god Pan, and people believe Pan caused sudden irrational fear in forests. That sudden bolt of terror equals panic. I didn't know that one at all. Nike. I didn't know that. The brand name comes from Nike, literally means victory. So every pair of Nike is basically wearing the goddess of victory on your feet. Well, I didn't know that. That's a new one. Music comes from the Greek musaik, the art of the muses, linked to the mythical the Muses, goddess of creativity and inspiration. Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I didn't even didn't even think about that one. Theatre. So it comes from theatron, a place of viewing, literally the seeing place. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. But apocalypse, people think it means destruction, but in Greek, apo means uncover, and kalyptian means to conceal. So literally the meaning, the great unveiling. Well, you learn something new every day. I didn't know that. It's pretty funky, isn't it? So here's another like random one that I was thinking of, like random historical facts that aren't overly well known. So I've got a few. The shortest war in history lasted under 40 minutes. So there's wars out there that lasted less than a Joe Rogan podcast. That's weird, isn't it? Cleopatra lived closer to the moon landing than the pyramids. Now that one's pretty weird. I can never wrap my head around like ancient Egypt, because apparently the pyramids were built at X date. I still don't believe that. I think that's mental. Because if anyone's ever seen the Joe Rogan podcast with Robert Schoch, and he explains about how the Sphinx got all this water damage, water erosion, and it's like 12,000 years ago from the Younger Dryas, it's mental, don't add up. But anyway, Cleopatra apparently lived closer to the moon landing than she did the actual building of the pyramids, which that's pretty raged. Oxford University existed before the Aztec Empire. Now I don't believe that one. So teaching at University of Oxford began around 1096. What the fuck did the world look like in 1096? Apparently the Aztec Empire formed in 1428. What? Oh, this one's a cool one, but I only know this one because I watched that program at Vikings, which was absolutely fantastic. Shout out Ragnar Lothbrok. The Vikings used crystals like Iceland spar to locate the sun through clouds and fogs. Medieval GPS powered by rocks. That's so cool. And the thing with the Vikings as well, because I love history, but I don't fully understand it, and I didn't really listen in school in history. So I don't say like this is like the human timeline. Say if Vikings were like there, I don't know who's before it and who's after it. I just know that it's a part of history. So whenever I hear certain stuff, I always get like I'm trying to work out whereabouts in the whole timeline that they actually were. Do you know what I mean? Napoleon was once attacked by rabbits. Well, I didn't fucking know that. He once organised a rabbit hunt. The rabbits had been domesticated instead of wild, so instead of running away, hundreds charged towards him expecting food. Well, I didn't know that. Apparently, there was woolly mammoths alive when the pyramids were built. Some woolly mammoths survived on Wrangel Island until 1650 BC. So humans, pyramids, and mammoths all shared the earth at the same time. So that one's a bit dodgy, innit? Because apparently humans and mammoths did live in the same time period. According to Graham Hancock, that humans somehow killed mammoths and then used their bone and ate the marrow and all that sort of stuff. So that one I kind of believe anyway, but I bet that was way before the pyramids. Or yeah, they're all like Neolithic times when like people like ancient home.
They are looking at human traces there. It was a butchering of a mastodon, but the way the bones were broken and the marrow was extracted, they don't see any other way that this could have been done except by human beings.
And stuff. This one you probably didn't know because this one is pretty strange. The Eiffel Tower was supposed to be temporary. Because I didn't know that one. Eiffel Tower was built in 1889 and was initially hated by many artists. Now it's one of the most recognised structures on Earth, proof that people will complain about literally anything new. But I don't get why it were only built for like a little bit of time. Medieval people didn't think the Earth was flat. Most people in the Middle Ages already knew the Earth was round. Oh, I didn't know that. Here's a cool one. The Roman Empire and samurai overlapped in time. The Western Roman Empire fell in 476 AD, but the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, lasted until 1453. So samurai existed in Japan during part of that later period. So theoretically, a samurai and a Roman citizen could have existed on Earth at the same time. That's pretty cool, really, isn't it? Them samurai boys, they were pretty wild. Them. Has anyone seen the series? Oh, what was it actually called? It's something really simple. I can't remember what it was called. It's all in subtitles. It's all got subtitles on it 'cause it's all in Japanese. I'll link it or show it here because I can't remember what it was called. But that's a really good series actually. I don't mind watching something if it's got subtitles as long as it's interesting enough. And plus it makes sense because here's one. So if anyone's watched the Vikings show, the way that they did the language thing was just genius, right? So a lot of people complain when they watch World War II films and there's a German speaking English with a German accent. Like, it don't make sense, does it? He wouldn't be speaking with a German accent. He'd just be speaking German. Think about it. Logically, that's exactly what he would be doing. So a lot of people, when Vikings came on TV, the way that they did it is they opened up the scene of them talking in Nordic. I think that's what you call it. So you'd see him talking back and forth in Nordic with subtitles, and then eventually they'd just start talking English so we could just watch it. But then if they encountered any other culture or people from a different land and a different language, they would just start talking Nordic with subtitles. So it made sense that they wasn't actually talking English, they was talking their native language, but for the viewers to understand it easier, they put it in English so you didn't have to sit there watching everything with subtitles. Which, to be honest, that's like the smartest way to do it. Because when you're watching them talking their native tongue, they've got the accent and all that jazz, and you think, oh, yeah, it's clever, that makes sense. And then when they start talking English, just so you can understand it, and you're not watching everything in a different fucking language, it makes a whole lot more sense. So Vikings, absolutely 10 out of 10 just for that little thing that they did. And then the whole series as alone is just incredible. One of the greatest box sets of anything anyone could ever watch is the Vikings. The Ragnar Lothbrok story, that was cool as hell. How he invaded and pillaged and took all the gold and did all that. And then like all the Athelstan and Athelred and that other blonde king, can't remember his name, but I'll pop a picture of him up there. Just all that. It was so well made. It was so interesting. Yeah, I remember when I watched it for the first time, I was going through just episode by episode by episode. And then I got to the last episode, finished it. Instead of putting anything else on, I went straight back to season one, episode one, and I just played it all over again because it was that good. I was like, I just want to keep watching it. So fair play to him on that one. That one was absolutely boss. Um, don't know if there's all else that I can think of. No, well, just a short one for today then. So episode 4. Yeah, have a good one. Enjoy yourself.